Hey guys, so happy Memorial Day. And so I was thinking about, the holidays in America and traditional celebrations. And, you know, I guess I think that when we try to, a lot of times, like I live in the Northeast and I kind of feel like Memorial Day and honestly a lot of holidays are becoming more and more meaningless to a lot of people. Because we've become multicultural and we have so many, people who don't have any meaning to their relatives of World War II or in Vietnam. They just, there's no historical a couple generations of like Americans because people here are so new, especially in the Northeast. Like, there's not a lot of like traditional uh, like I hate to say it, like white Americans. They're basically you have so many new people from all across the globe here that a lot of these holidays are meaningless unless it involves corporate money and capitalism, and that can be good and bad. I think being on when you're in the left, a lot of like you kind of rebel against structure and tradition, and you want to create new things. And when you're on the right, you value historical holidays and traditional events, and you're a little bit more respectful of history, where people on the left tend to want to like throw history away. People say I understand both arguments. Like the right, there's something comforting about having a tradition, something predictable that happens, like a literally pace. Where on the left, sometimes when you focus on the past so much, it's hard to create a new future. So I agree with the left too, because sometimes you do need to disrupt old things and kind of forge ahead with something new. But I also feel that when you're not in a good emotional place and you're trying to create all these new things, you fuck everything up. So instead of like destroying things with an axe, you know, it's like you just kind of like remake something new while the old is present. Okay, so you remake some. You don't just tear down the old and then build something new. Like you don't tear down the old traditional housing projects. They did like in the '60s, which is fucking a disaster for architecture and implementation, and it's just horrible for like a low income the black community putting them all together in this huge high project buildings. I mean, it's ridiculous. Um, but what you do is you don't tear things down per se. You build new things and let the old things fall naturally. So you don't just like if you're building a new building, sometimes, yeah, buildings fall, like the Twin Towers, but you don't just destroy necessarily a building. You kind of like figure out how to build something new, either around it, or maybe you put a building like and then a different area of town that's better, and that old building just falls into disrepair, and then you take it down, but it's replaced by something new first. Okay, so the whole idea of the left is chaos. Like you want to get rid of the tradition and build something new. And the right is like, dude, you need to understand order and you need to understand tradition. So days like Memorial Day, I don't have any connections really to. My dad has served not in a war, but he served in the military in the '60s. But he wasn't ever even in Vietnam. My grandfather was in World War II. Um, so I think of my grandfather, and I think a little bit about what things meant and tradition, and having burgers and sitting outside during Memorial Day, and that's important, because I do view myself as an American. I do view myself as, I don't know if I'm like super patriotic, but I really understand the importance of that tradition. So it's like, with Christmas, like when I go down in the South and they really view Christmas as a big deal in the holidays, that's so nice. Where a lot of things are just lip service up here in the Northeast. A lot of people in the Northeast who have, you know, people, like a lot of the rich whites, don't really value tradition as much because in religion, and then you're having a new culture come in, which you're having a lot of non-whites come in, which is cool, like, but they don't value like Memorial Day. They don't have any kind of like relationship to it, you know. They don't give a shit. And I wouldn't either, you know. If I went to Japan, I wouldn't give a shit about their traditional holidays. I mean, I might follow them if I was hanging out with the Japanese family or whatever, but I wouldn't try to preserve them or engage in them like willingly by myself or with my other American friends if I was in Japan. So it's interesting. So it's like really just a balance, you know. And for people who are wondering, like sometimes I try to look at the societal trends about what's happening in America and you know which way are we going, blah blah blah. But someone recently, or something I remembered from one of my spiritual teachings, is that we're in the best of times and the worst of times. So things can be really, things in a way are also really shitty for a lot of people. You know, but there's also evidence that things are really amazing. It really just depends on which side of the stick you're going to look at, because in every situation there is the horrible and the negative, and then just all the opportunities. So, I mean, even just I think if you look at just the data, you can just see that there's like so much less violence in the world, even though you know we put it in front of you, right in your face on the news. But there's so much less violence. There's so much less like mass murder than there was even like 50 years ago or 100 years ago. And it's just precipitously dropped. I mean, you can look at the facts. So it's good to be positive. It's good to be optimistic about what's happening in the future. So that's my little spiel about Memorial Day, and I hope you guys, you know, had a decent Memorial Day. For me, I spent it with my father, my aunt, and my dad's girlfriend. Just having burgers and out on a patio. I mean, it wasn't anything particularly wonderful. It was just it was just nice to get together with family. And so that's that. Love you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Talk to you soon.